And I am delighted to be joined by Congressman Cory Gardner, who represents the 4th Congressional District in the state of Colorado and is hoping very soon to represent the entire state in the United States Senate. Congressman, it is great to talk to you.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on.
You know, I have been watching from a distance here in D.C. some of the attacks flying in your state against you in the last couple of weeks. They came up with this totally harebrained questioning of your high school football career and like this weird truther thing through a Gawker-owned sports blog, and that fell apart in about 4 seconds when you tweeted a photo of yourself in your high school football uniform.
And my mullet, so I apologize for that one.
Apology accepted on behalf of America, Congressman. But the new one today, I'm sure you've heard it, this is making the rounds, this ad put out by the extreme abortion group NARAL, where it's a conversation, we just talked about it in the previous segment, a conversation very stilted and scripted between a supposed young couple where they're talking about how you, Cory Gardner, have created a run on condoms, and there's no condoms left in the entire state of Colorado because of you and your denying of science with the weirding of the weather. It's just a bizarre ad. What's your response to that sort of attack?
Well, again, these are the same people who, during the healthcare rollout, tried to portray young people across the United States as interested in nothing more than doing cake stands. Again, I think it minimizes the intelligence and the work ethic of people across this country, young voters, millennials, people who are interested in far more than what this extreme group would like them to be interested in.
And I'm just so fascinated by the leap that they try to make in these commercials. Your opponent has gone on and on and on endlessly about birth control. The Denver Post, in endorsing you, called it an obnoxious one-issue campaign that is an insult to voters, which is some pretty strong language. Here they are doubling and tripling down, trying to say that you are somehow going to single-handedly ban virtually all forms of birth control and totally ignoring your actual position on the issue.
It's a pretty obnoxious campaign, and the Denver Post has it right. Senator Udall is a social issues warrior. He can only focus on one-issue campaign, and we have taken our message of expanding access to contraception, making it available over-the-counter without prescription, making sure we fix Obamacare to allow it to be reimbursed. But those are the things that we stand for. But, that's the difference between somebody who, like myself, stands for ideas and solutions and somebody like Senator Udall who wants division in politics.
Well, that's the thing. These ads are getting a lot of our attention because it's just beyond parody, and we're having some fun with it, frankly. But I would imagine when you're going around across your state and meeting with people and actual voters, one of the very last things that they're worried about is a ridiculous fictional ban on birth control. They're talking about real issues that people are worried about. As you were on the campaign trail in these closing days, what are you seeing? What are you hearing from people? What is the vibe on the ground? How are you feeling?
We feel very good. We feel very good about where we are, the message of growing our economy, getting people back to work, putting more Colorado in Washington and less Washington in Colorado. That's what people of this state are interested in, and people want to make sure that we're focused on energy independence, how do we make college affordable for future generations, and protecting this amazing environment in Colorado. Those are the issues that come up at my town meetings, and really we can talk about those things because Senator Udall can't. That's why he's been running this distracting social issues campaign, because he can't focus on the economy. He can't talk about health care. He can't talk about energy, but because he has a failed record, and it's a record that he has stood hook, line, and sinker by when it comes to Barack Obama.
Yeah, and when it comes to Obamacare, this is a program that is very unpopular in your state. Tens of thousands of people have lost their coverage in a violation of Senator Udall and President Obama's repeated promises, including you and your family, which you mentioned in an ad. There was some news out of your state just this week about premiums, and even people who are on Obamacare, who are receiving subsidies, how those subsidies are going to really be curtailed in the next year, in 2015, if they stick with the plan that they've chosen, a 77% cost increase for those families. I mean, is this something that you're hearing about from people? Is that an issue that Senator Udall has even addressed?
Absolutely it is. There was a recent round of new health care cancellations going out. In fact, yesterday at a series of meet and greets we had, there were people who were handing me copies of the letter that they received from their insurance company notifying them that their health care plan had been canceled. despite the promise that Senator Udall made that they could keep the health care plans that they liked. We've seen people have dramatic rate increases. In fact, we've seen a Democrat member of the Colorado congressional delegation who voted for Obamacare actually try to get 3 towns in his district waived out of Obamacare because of exorbitant cost increases. So the 3 primary promises: if you like your health care plan, you can keep it. If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. And this will lower the cost of health care, simply aren't true. And people of Colorado know that. They know that Mark Udall passed Obamacare with the help of his vote, and it was one of the deciding votes. And they know better. That's why they're going to vote for Cory Gardner this November 4th.
And we're talking with Cory Gardner here on the Hugh Hewitt Show. And Congressman, you know, we've gotten to know each other a little bit over the years. I am one of the biggest political nerds on the planet, so I've actually dialed up and gone into these sort of online live streaming things to watch your debates with Mark Udall because they're not on television. It's been very interesting. Mark Udall has declined to debate you on statewide television, which even seemed to take the local media aback a little bit. Based on how the debates went, I'm not really surprised that he was nervous about doing that. Do you think that perhaps your poll lead would be bigger today if all of those debates had been televised?
I think it's important that Coloradans could have had the opportunity to see Senator Udall try to defend his failed positions. It's sad that he wasn't willing to debate us in northern Colorado or eastern Colorado. In fact, we had agreed to 16, 17, 18 debates, and Senator Udall finally got 5 forums and debates that he agreed to, and that's ultimately what we ended up doing. But I think it is important that the people of Colorado hear from Senator Udall. In fact, one of the debates we had is the featured focus of, I think, 3 different television ads, because in one of the debates he said that he did not believe the Islamic State was an imminent threat to our nation. He was downplaying the importance of energy to Colorado. And so that's been featured around the state, but it took TV commercials to do it instead of the fact that the senator refused to have that broadcast on statewide TV like it should have been.
Mail-in ballots for the first time in Colorado this cycle. Some people are saying it's the Democrats' ground game that will save them. The polling might be off because of the new system. You have the lead, but they're saying that might not be the case because of the mail-in. How are you guys feeling about your ground game and your ability to actually bring this home?
Well, I'm excited about the ground operation that we've put in place. In fact, Stu Rothenberg today, Rothenberg being one of the most well-respected voices in political analysis today, he actually moved our race from pure toss-up to tilt Republican because he believes that the ground game we've put together has been vastly underestimated. So we're excited about the race and look forward to finishing strong the next 6 days.
30 seconds, Congressman. What can people do? Because we've got thousands of people listening to us right now in your state on Hughes affiliates. What can people do in these final days to help you?
Make sure that they get their ballot out. If they're in Colorado, vote for Cory Gardner. Get those turned in as soon as possible. Go to CoryGardner.com if you're able to contribute. Everything goes into our ground game and onto TV. That would be a huge help in the closing days as we make sure Coloradans hear our message about greater opportunity and why we need change in Washington. Cory
Gardner with Providence help and a knock on wood, the next senator from the state of Colorado. We are hoping we will see what happens on Tuesday. Good luck, sir.